When you're part of a community on mission, people begin to ask questions. They'll say things like, well, when will we study the Bible? Or they will ask a question about what it looks like for them as an individual to develop a deep relationship with someone. And the way that we want to focus someone's personal discipleship, their own personal development, and see them really grow up is by making sure that everybody that's a part of a missional community is also part of a smaller group of people, usually from within that same missional community. And those smaller groups of people are usually 3 men or 3 women, sometimes a little more, a little bit less. And they meet together regularly to share life together, to get to know each other, and to really see what is going on in one another's lives. When you begin to live your life like this, what you'll begin to see is we really don't know what's going on in one another's lives until we start to spend some time together. So we call these groups DNA groups. D stands for discover something in Scripture. N stands for nurture the heart, which means listening to each other, learning to ask good questions. And A stands for act, which means how are we going to call each other to be faithful to the things that we're learning and growing in together. The way a DNA group might start would be a group of people might begin to get together and just take a walk once a week, or have a cup of coffee, or meet up in the evening for something. And as you begin to share life together, you begin to learn each other's stories. And when you're sharing your story with someone, then you'll begin to see the areas in their lives where they really have some growth areas, or they have some big questions, or there's some themes of a particular issue that comes up repeatedly. And as you begin to learn each other's stories and begin to know what's going on in one another's lives, then you'll know what type of book you might read together, or what book of the Bible you might read together. And I think sometimes what happens is that people want to go through a study not really thinking if they should even be studying that particular subject. And I think what happens in a DNA group is different from that, because we're learning to share life together, to say what is going on. Maybe we ought to study something that relates to that. And so it's helpful for men to have men so that they can talk about issues relating to males. And it's good for women to have groups of women so they can talk about things relating to females. These groups are same-sex because there are some things that you just will not talk about with one another. And I think the great part about having a smaller group of men or a smaller group of women is that everyone in a missional community has an opportunity to go deep in a relationship with someone. And the longer you journey with someone, the more you'll be able to encourage that person or those people to grow up into maturity and to be faithful in every area of their life.